Welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun. I'm your host, Rita, and this is Aaron. I'll let Aaron take over while I do something.
Yes, today we're talking about something that affects our ability to live simply and fun. It's the United States Postal Service's white paper. Their white paper has a guideline that they've set up of what they want to do to try to turn the US Postal Service around into making money. One of the things they want to do is they want to take over what they call non-banking financial institution, basically. They already do postal money orders and they do some international money sending if you have if you go to the proper places. They also at some locations will sell gift cards for like Amazon, etc., or preloadable American Express cards. I've heard that these are usually the ones that sell not gift cards, but like Valentine's Day cards or birthday cards. Sympathy cards in their stores. Now what they want to do, first of all, is they want to take over essentially payday loans, which would put out of business a lot of the pay places that do payday loans and live off that. They say that people pay too much in interest on it during the course of a year, so they want to reduce the interest rates and they want to deal with them so that the poor can go to them instead of going to these higher costing places that take as much as 9% of their income per year. They also want to do regular loans in small dollar amounts rather than larger dollar amounts, not to be confused with payday, because they don't need your check or your proof of income that you can pay it back. But I don't know what their dollar amounts are, whether it's $50, $100 or whatever, but it's for emergency sake, so that those who don't have any savings can at least maybe go and get some money that they need to pay for their emergency without having to sell off half of what they own, etc. They want to do direct express, so that we have to put our money on.
Hold on. I got an idea to share.
So they want to do direct express so that anybody who gets money from the government institution, whether it be Social Security, disability, Social Security survivors, Social Security retirement, SSI, or welfare, veterans payments, government pensions. They want all this put on direct express cards issued by the United States Postal Service, which are very sharp-looking little cards. Which means they've kind of gone a little farther ahead than just coming up with this idea, but they've actually gone into the idea of producing, and they've come up with designs and stuff. They say 26% of the people need this services. They have like 7 or 8 different things they want to go into, including offering savings accounts, which I thought that's now banking, financial banking. They said they want to do non-financial banking. Well, isn't a savings account financial? Not only that, apparently the U.S. government claims that the post office is losing over $8 billion a year. If they're losing that much money, then where does the money come from that they're going to be using to give loans? If they have no money, where do they get it?
I'd like to make a statement here. Hello, everyone. I'm wearing new glasses. He asked a question earlier. Who can find any information? Here it is. It started a long time ago, and it stopped in the 1950s.
The United States Postal Savings System.
Yes, the FDIC took over for it. When the FDIC did, they thought, and by the way, $3.4 billion that the American people's money was lost. Those Americans didn't get it.
It was lost. $3.4
billion
was lost. To
At
the
the
US
peak
Postal
in
Service.
1947, the system held $3.4 billion in deposits, and they lost it because the government decided the FDIC was going to take over
And they
increase
confiscated all that money.
Yes.
So here, they want us to allow them to do this again, so that we can start giving them our money, and if they decide to turn it over to somebody else later, they can confiscate all that money and say, oops, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not going to allow you to repeat history.
And
I don't want you to repeat history.
Also, back then...
And you want my money on a Direct Express card, where if you decide to shut down, my card's empty. Hey,
it says here
I
at the
need money
bottom,
to eat.
They say that more people have trust in the Postal Service over the U.S. government. How's this?
Shut for a second. I want to speak on that. They say in their white letter that people have more trust in the U.S. Postal Service than they have in the banking system. Yeah, duh. Here's why. The banking system, they take our money. They invest it for us. They oftentimes lose money. We know that investments can be risky. On top of that, they oftentimes nail us with this fee and that fee and every other frickin' fee. And it's like, well, why do I have to pay this? Why do I have to pay that? I wasn't overdrawn. Now I'm overdrawn. I had $10 in there. Where'd my money go? Well, we don't know where it went, but you owe us money. So this type of thing happens with the banks all the time to people. And we get fed up with it. And then they ask for government bailouts. Do we trust the banks? No, we don't trust the banks. But at the same time that we don't trust the banks, why do we trust the post office? They deliver mail. They walk around, put it in our mailbox, shut the thing, and we always get our mail. Heck, everything I've ever asked for has usually gotten to me in some way, shape, or form without ever getting lost in the Postal Service. I trust the Postal Service for that. But do I trust them when it comes to money? No, then they become another bank, and I'm not going to trust them. I do not trust the banking system. I'm sure most of you don't fully trust the banking system. And if the post office took over a lot of the banking system stuff, would you trust them? I don't trust payday loan places. Heck, I used it once, and they ended up charging me almost double what I ended up asking for in fees over the course of the next 2 months because I couldn't pay it all off at one time, and it kept going up and up and up. So, do I trust these places? No. But the post office says people need trust in what they're going to invest in.
I wanted to say something about that. The bottom of the report says, the Postal Service savings system lost its natural advantage in the people's trust.
Exactly. See, right there. When they did the savings, they lost the trust of the people. But we still trust them to deliver our mail.
And they took everyone who bought these savings accounts when it started was fingerprinted. It says right here, fingerprinted.
Yes.
Not for criminology reasons, but for other reasons.
I know a lot of people who do not want to be fingerprinted for anything. If the Boy Scouts go and your son's in the Boy Scouts, there are people who say, oh, you're going to the police station, don't allow them to fingerprint you. There's no good reason to have our fingerprints on file, and right now there is no mandatory thing that says we need our fingerprints on file. So if they do this again, what's the chance that we're going to end up having to put our fingerprints on file for the Postal Service, which now goes into the government? By the way, it's just a small step from having the Postal Service handling our finances to end up having them merge with the DMV and create Real ID. Why? One card for both your things at the same institution. You get your driver's license and credit card, well, one-on-one. Now they know everything that you spend and what you spend it on and where you spent it.
I'd like to make one more statement about this whole federal government thing. The government's always saying that they're losing money left and right, and they need to make money, even though they recommend certain
I want to get to their ways of making money after.
I was going to make a statement,
it's not this point.
Fine, I won't bring it up. It wasn't about making money, it was about losing money. U.S. Treasury bills, bonds, and savings accounts, which you can buy for $100 or more. They call them Treasury bills, notes, and bonds. You
worthless.
buy them, they're worthless. They say after 10, 20, 50, or 100 years they mature, you might get $10 or $15 back on it, but you can't cash it out.
Yeah, well, they're considered a very safe. They're considered a very safe investment because you get it for $10, you're going to get $10 back on it. If you have it for 50 years, you might get $12 back on it. You have it for 100 years, you might get 15 back. You have to look at what they say. Various ones have different rates and different returns, and it's like a guaranteed return. But it's so small that you could probably do better just sticking it in a bank. But some people play those because they feel safe with them.
Yeah, but what if the government collapses in 5 years? You lost all your T-bills.
Right now, our government's so far in debt that it's not funny, then we might just end up having a collapse. So do we want the U.S. government having control of all our finances? No, we don't. And what I was coming to after the Real ID thing, another thing that's been brought up by the people who brought up the white paper is to set up basically computers kiosks or what they call an internet cafe within the post offices, where you go in and say you want to pay your electric bill. You can pay your electric bill right there on a computer there, so that you don't have to go to the electric company. You can pay your phone bill right there, so you don't have to send it in. Wait, isn't that contradictory to what they do? They send things. They want your money to go into an envelope and a stamp put on it and in the mail.
Here's an
example. Now you go in and you pay all your stuff on internet. You've now gotten out of sending 5 or 6 letters that they could have had sent.
I was going to bring up letter sending today. Even though I'm sick and I violated some things about going out being ill, I wanted to say, and I vented on him earlier about postal prices. Instead of doing the basic postcard, which was about 19 cents, they charge you the average postal price of 49 cents. International postage stamps are supposed to be 33 to 40 cents. They're charging $1.15 per stamp. I had to send some postcards out today. My letters went, total shipping to another country for Valentine's Day and stuff was $14. Lady says, I'm sorry, we can't get it cheaper because we had to raise the rates because we have to make our living somehow. There you go.
So, on top of this, what I was trying to say earlier, and she cut right into, they want us to pay online and avoid sending mail through the thing, but people who are underprivileged, it's easy to get a money order, right? And a money order is $1.25 each. So if you have 5 bills that you can pay online, that's $6.25 that they could have just made off you to send those things in. And then again, at almost 50 cents a stamp, that's $2.50 more there. They just sacrificed $9 from letting you use the computer. And unless they're charging you $10 to use the computer to pay your online bills for half an hour, and you got to complete it all in half an hour, they're losing money. And they're talking about how they're losing money now. Where are they going to get all the money, as I said earlier, to end up giving loans, etc. And another thing that they're talking about doing is having essentially an online service like Amazon, where you can place orders for things you want, like movies and books and CDs and TVs and VCRs, or, well, okay, fine, Blu-ray players. But they don't want you to go through Amazon. They want you to go through them. So you get a Direct Express card, or well, not Direct Express, but a US Postal Direct Express card. And they want you to be able to use it online at their site to order your stuff. The only places you go is the grocery store or a gas station that you can't get there. In fact, they'll probably want you to buy a grocery store card so that you could go to your local grocery store and use the credits on the card that you bought from your postal card to go and buy your groceries, so that you are actually technically buying your groceries from the Postal Service. And that way, they're handling all aspects of your money, so that, frankly, you're buying everything from them. So you could say goodbye Amazon, you could say goodbye eBay. Heck, you might have to get your Netflix and Hulu payments there, because you won't be able to do Netflix and Hulu direct from your computer, because you'll have to use their computers to be able to do it. Now, what makes this even worse is they're talking about cutting their open hours from 10 o'clock to noon. And forget 8 o'clock until 5. 10 to noon. In fact, we've already cut down to 4 o'clock here, and we open at 8:30. We used to open at 7 when we first moved here. So we've already lost an hour and a half in the morning.
Don't forget, they put these postal boxes that you get a key for your packages.
Yeah, we only have 11 for 2,000 boxes in our post office. That means they can only handle 11 packages a day, and if they fill up all those boxes, you gotta wait till the next day. So they end up with 10,000 packages in the back. They can only put 11 out at a time, and you're gonna be so backed up, you might not get your package for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Was going to say, a lot of people, this card is new. It's got the strip still. I don't use it. Walmart sent it to me if I wanted to do Walmart financial banking, which was a really good idea. Just swipe it, load it there, etc.
Luckily, the government's talking to Walmart about possibly handling all the postal aspects and shut down the post offices so that you go to Walmart to handle it.
They also talked about making their prepaid cards only American Express. This is an American Express card prepaid. Bottom line is, this is what the Postal Service wants to do. However, one senator or congressman said, how can we trust the Postal Service to do the job if they can't even deliver our mail on time?
That was Paul Ryan. And speaking of this, now they wonder why they're losing money. And this is the last part I wanted to get into. They're wondering why they lose money. First of all, the stamps for a single person, it used to be one of the most widely sent things, is a card. All right.
Postcard.
No. Shush you.
You mean birthday cards,
Christmas cards. You know what? Because of our individuality, we've stopped sending cards to family members. Heck, when we move away from our family members, we no longer talk to our aunts and uncles and our cousins and our brothers. There are some families that do, but most just abandon them after they've gotten old enough and move away. They don't talk to their sister, their mother, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles. There's no birthday cards, no Christmas cards, no sympathy cards. Heck, we're always so busy anymore that we do almost everything through social media. But we still have bills to pay. Heck, we might even send more cards if we didn't have to spend 50 cents a stamp. We want to send 50 Christmas cards out. Well, you do the math. You know, that's $25 just to send your Christmas cards. If it was 20 cents a stamp, heck, we might just do so. I mean, that's a big difference to pay, $10 for a Christmas card.
I'd like to share
It's a big difference between paying $10 for our Christmas cards to go out and holiday cards, etc., than $25. We might afford 10, but 25 might actually hurt our finances for the month for food and stuff.
Just for example, I got 9 bills left I got to pay. And you know what? That's 9 postage stamps right there. Not including $1.25 per money order. That's $1.25.
And she's got more bills than a lot of people. But
because of the vultures, medical bills.
Now they're talking about how they're losing money. Here's another thing. Bulk rate mail. Our junk mail. Our crappy junk mail. You know these car keys that you get in the mail that says you may have already won? Show up at our parking lot on this day and test out your key, and you might just have the key that unlocks the car to win. But you have to go through the whole parking lot and try to choose. Most of those keys, you go through the parking lot, try it on every single car door, it won't open a single one of them.
This is coupons for Marlboro tobacco products. Guess what? I found out Marlboro only's paying 4 cents for this. 4 cents!
Yeah, and that's not exactly junk mail. We actually requested that. But when it comes to those car keys, that is junk mail. And guess what? They send to every single person in your county. And if you have 500,000 people living in your county, which is a lot of people in your county, if you have 500,000 people, let's say even 1 million people in your county, because you live in a larger county, or even a bigger county, 14 million or something, they're still sending to every single person. And guess what? The more people you send to, the cheaper it is. What happens when you do printing? The more you print, the cheaper it is. Heck, they end up paying about 2 cents per person for 14 million to go out. So that's what, $28 million, but the government's not making that much off of it because it actually takes about 30 cents each one to deliver. So if they're delivering it for 30 cents and charging you 1 cent because your printing's not done through them, which maybe they should get into that too, printing. Let's let them take over for that too. But there's 1 cent. And then we pay 50 cents because we need to make up the extra amount to pay for our junk mail. I don't want to pay for my junk mail. Heck, I don't want my junk mail. Do you want your junk mail? I really doubt you do. All these Geico things, heck, I get a Geico thing about once a week. That's going to almost every single man and woman and child in America. At least to each residence in America, whether anybody lives there or not. Because it says to resident. They're getting away for half a cent to a cent per piece.
Don't forget, because he's talking about Geico and Allstate and all this crap, I'm going to weigh in real quick and say, my post office box gets one of those a day at least.
Yeah. And then you got collection agencies who also do bulk rate. And you know what? I oftentimes don't want their bill, and oftentimes they send me 2 or 3 a week.
Tell them about mine. What the hospital sends me 7.
The hospital sends her 7 every month. Actually, about 14 every month, because they send it every 2 weeks, because our hospital splits up everything into multiples. But because they're doing bulk rate, they're paying 5-6 cents each one of those, or even less. So it takes you and me and the rest of us buying that little postage stamp and our money orders try to make up for it.
It's called subsidizing the Postal Service. Me, Aaron, and you, the viewer, pays more money for the subsidizing of that. It's like your government tax dollars paying for subsidized housing. We might have to pay 1/3 of the income. You taxpayers might have to pay 2/3. But when it comes to the Postal Service,
we have to pay it 100% pretty much, because you figure that this bulk rate is paying them a penny to 4 cents per copy, maybe 10 cents at most. Because my dad was sending out about 300 pieces, and it was working out to about 10 cents. I've heard it's dropped to about 9. That was on 300 pieces of mail. So, and this was only like 5 years ago. So what ends up happening is you got the employees to take care of. You got the loss in postage because they're paying too little to have those things shipped. So we're essentially paying for the remainder of what they need to ship theirs, plus the employees, and that comes out of the 50-cent stamp we get, the $1.25 fee for a money order, and whatever markup we have on paying those crappy cardboard boxes they sell in their store for $3.99.
I'd like to...
and this is how we try to make up for all that, and it's not enough. That's why they're $8-9 billion in the hole.
I would like to make a statement, too, because Aaron knows me this well. Once a year, around January, I order certain brochures from certain companies. I sit down and I write 20 or 30 letters. I go to the post office and I say, here's my mail for the year. Give me the 30 stamps for the domestic. And then throughout the year, I might send out the bills, but I might throw in a letter or two for here or there. And then the Postal Service says, oh, well, we should raise the rates again because people like you, Rita, pay it.
Every year they raise the rates.
My post office box
since we've lived here, it's gone up every year, and the post office boxes have gone up every year. Oh, and another thing is, one of the largest growing sections of the Postal Service, and this is totally crazy of the Postal Service to do this, but mail order. And we were talking about mail order earlier with this. But mail order. We order from Amazon. We order from Cabela's. We order from Bass Pro. We order from this winery. We order from that place. We order from this place. All these things are bought online. We just bought some stuff today that's going to have to be shipped to us. This is something that has not been happening pre-1980. There wasn't much in the online catalogs. Yeah, sometimes we would, but we didn't usually go to a showroom floor and buy what we needed.
Yeah, in the old days, I wanted to say this because
or Camelot Music.
We
or
go to
FYI.
back in the old days, in the late 1800s, when Sears was around. If you had a Sears catalog, if there was a Sears store, you walked in there and you said, "Yeah, I want a bed. I want to buy this." They said, "Okay, it'll take 6 to 8 weeks. You'll get it, right?"
Yep.
And they shipped it regular
Catalog
freight.
store.
Now, you order it and it's online. It's bam, done. You know, I mean, I emailed a company today for a simple part. $6.95 for shipping. Aaron looked at me and says, "Hon, you shouldn't have done that." Guess what? We're going to get his little part put back together.
Yep.
Only costs $8. Why pay $57 in tax for a new machine?
Back on track here, because we're already at 23 minutes, is that when we order these things, it takes shipping to send them to us, and a lot of it goes through the Postal Service. However, what has the Postal Service now done? They've outsourced at their expense to FedEx to have FedEx deliver it for the same rate we were paying before, but FedEx rates are actually higher than the post office's rates for the same package. So now we're sending FedEx Smart Post from Boston to, say, Seattle. FedEx transports it, and then it goes from the one postal office to another postal office on the coast with FedEx in between. And where's the United States Postal Service making money on this? They just ended up throwing out $8 billion to go to FedEx for the year to deliver through SmartPost. Hey, wait, isn't that the same amount they lost? Wouldn't they have broken even if they didn't do that?
I would.
So here's what my thoughts are on how they can end up making money so that we can end up cutting this short. What they need to do is raise the amount that they're charging for bulk rate. All right, I don't care if I get a little less garbage because the local used car dealership doesn't want to pay 35 cents for each letter. They want to go back to a penny. All right, I don't care if I miss out on that. Geico is still going to pay that, but they may not send 2 letters a month like they're used to. And they may try to make sure they don't send to people who already have car insurance, and they may only try to make sure they send to people who have a car too. I don't mind that. They'll make more money from it. They need to lower the amount that they charge the American populace for regular postage stamps to send a Christmas card to dear Aunt Betty, okay, who doesn't have the internet, and to your old Aunt Matilda, who does have the internet, but she still would like to have that paper card because it feels good to get something in the mail. They need to raise the rates on corporate post office boxes, but lower the rate on citizens post office boxes.
$60 just for me for just this year.
Of
for
course,
the small
this is
box.
going to end up making corporations, want to buy up all the boxes in the post office to say, well, you're a citizen, we're going to give your box to them so we can get more money. They want to do these cluster boxes, which probably isn't a bad idea because they'll mean less foot traffic for the postal worker, but where are they going to build them and who's going to build them and then what's the cost going to be to build them? It might be better to just continue working with what we are and slowly build them as we can. Instead of trying to do a blitzkrieg and build them across the country all at once at a huge expense. To make money, I do like the idea of selling gift cards in their places. I do like the idea of selling maybe some candy and soda and novelties. Maybe turn it into a little mini mart type place inside. Heck, I don't mind the idea of having Walmart do it, but at the same time,
I just want
I don't
to say
trust Walmart employees.
No, I was going to say, you brought up the FedEx Smart Post. For some of you out there, since this is long enough and it's our weekly rant television show.
Actually, it's been we missed last week because we were sick, so we're making up a bit.
Anyways, here's something I want you to do for the viewers. Go on to Amazon or go to Google Smart Post and Amazon, and you'll see how many people hate it because as soon as you buy an Amazon Prime membership, you get your packages shipped 3-4 weeks out. Some people are still waiting for their packages from 6 weeks ago.
Heck, I ordered stuff on the 3rd. Here it is the 10th. It was supposed to be 2 to 4 day, and, well, it's now 7 days. 2 to 4 days, 7 days later. I got one that came in today, but I can't pick it up till tomorrow because it got too late. So I have to wait till tomorrow. I got 2 others that are supposed to be in Kent, Washington, and I don't know when they'll ever get here from there. I got another one that's supposed to be in Hebron, Kentucky, where I don't even know where that is, but that was shipped out supposedly 7 days ago, and it's still in Hebron. And I got another one that it can't even pull up tracking information for. It's split into 2 packages, and it says, we don't know any tracking information on this. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, everything, I guess, will be here. They actually said the 13th, even though I put down 2 to 4 days. So how they ended up telling me from the 3rd that 2 to 4 day would get here by the 13th.
It took 17 days for 3 books to arrive to me. 17 days.
Yeah, so the post office is screwed up. And something does need to be done to fix it. And I think the thing is, stop giving breaks to the corporations who have the money to pay it, and give the breaks to the people who don't have the money to do it.
I just want to say,
because we can't float the corporations sending out their junk, but we can have the businesses float the citizens who can't afford to send cards to their family. Especially when the price of cards is going from 99 cents to $1.99 to $7.99.
Yeah.
Heck, you just bought a card that was what, like almost $9?
Yes, $9, $8, and $6 just to send 3 cards because the other person on the other end bought me 3 cards, but their cards are cheaper. Mine, I even talked to the guy here in town, he says, yeah, we're trying to phase out these cards because they're just too damn expensive.
Well,
no one wants Hallmark cards anymore.
Well, look at other competitors here. FedEx charges almost 3 times as much as our postal service for sending a package, yet they send the postal service's packages because they have a contract. Brown, UPS, charges just a little more than United Postal Service charges, but DHL was actually able to charge less and was more efficient. Guess what? They're banned from actually doing any real interstate delivery. The only thing they could do is if you order something from out of country and it comes to the United States, they can then deliver it.
I want to tell a story about the Postal Service.
DHL can do, but they've essentially been banned by Barack Obama.
Yeah, and before that...
Because their rates were too low and they were undercutting.
Airborne Express was a good service. Everyone loved Airborne Express. Airborne Express was a subsidy of DHL. When DHL bought them up, the government decided to put their foot down and said, no, we're giving it to our corporate buddies, FedEx and UPS, the hell with you.
And they
can bring in DHL into the state, but then DHL has to transfer your international postage over to the post office, and then the post office takes their dumpy little time. He asked about DHL.
Yeah, because I wanted a jersey from Germany.
I was going to buy him a jersey for Christmas.
And the jersey was $127 US. Not all that bad. I could afford that. I don't mind. It would have been a great gift for me. I talked to the guy, however, sending it FedEx would have been an extra $190. So it would have ended up being, $327 to $317 to ship it to me. UPS would have ended up being about $260 total to ship it to me. That's jersey and shipping. Whereas DHL could have shipped for $9 US. So it would have only cost me $135 overall.
He said he absolutely wasn't going to do business with us.
He couldn't do DHL because DHL couldn't actually transport it once they got into America.
It'd have to be transferred to the Postal Service.
And then the Postal Service would have to take an international rate on it, and it ended up going up $50 at DHL's expense once they got it.
And then Sweetie Pie here would be paying the customs rate.
And then the guy stopped talking to me because he didn't want to deal with it because it was getting too complicated to try to send it to me because DHL had all these things cut off from them and couldn't do it. And FedEx and UPS were too expensive for me to afford. He said he had a brother-in-law who has a family member in Canada near the border, and he may have been able to send it to him, and he could have driven over the border and sent it from America.
Or sent it Canadian Post.
Because he was a long-haul trucker, Canadian-American trucking. So he would have come into America eventually, and he could have dropped it in the mail as he was in America, but...
the guy never got
back to me, so they just stopped dealing.
I wanted to say, I just had that, I was talking to someone the other day who didn't trust the Postal Service, going over to their country, and they wanted some certain clothes, and they liked the stockings I wore, so I looked into it. $11 for shipping, I can insure it up to $500. I said, okay, I'll do that. They said, no, send it FedEx, UPS. Guess what? FedEx and UPS for a 1-pound package of some tights, $274. Sorry, I'm going to US Postal Service on that one.
Yeah. It's disgusting, some of the shipping rates out there. And you know what? The corporations get breaks. You know what? This is interesting, too. There is a book shipping rate, but it doesn't qualify towards citizens anymore. It used to. You could go in with a box full of books and say, this is all books. And you'd end up being able to pay like $2 in shipping for a box that would have cost $50 in shipping. Now, you order a ton of books from a corporation like Amazon. They can stick all the books in there, and like $7, they can send you 80 pounds of books. Whereas if you tried to send that 80 pounds of books back to them, it'd cost you like $70. Why? You don't get the book rate, but the corporations still do. And then they wonder why they're losing money.
I do want to say, on top of this whole thing about postal services, this is what really irks me also, and I think he should bring it up because of Amazon. Again, you go in, and unless you go through the Amazon Prime warehouse type thing and you pay $35 or more to get free shipping, which then the shipping sucks, you buy everything individual. Just say you wanted a book. This book here, for example, Aaron's happy about it. 1 cent, brand new. 1 cent for this one, no problem.
But you
I paid the $3.99, which was worth it. But if you want something else, this was $2.14 with a shipping of $3.99. Guess again, they're pretty good. But guess what? Those aren't bad. Why? Because it's, well, not bad. But the thing is...
And here's another reason that the government's losing money on the Postal Service. Free tracking. Every package you send gets free tracking now. And on top of that, there's something else they do. Free insurance up to like $50. So if you have like under $50 of stuff you send and it gets lost some reason, which a lot of people may claim, especially since you don't have to sign for it, so where's the proof it actually got there? So you end up sending it and they say, well, I never got it. And then you go in and say, my buddy never got this that I sent him, and it was only $45. They pretty much have to pay you the $45.
Sorry about that.
That's a loss of money to them. And this, I'm sure, happens quite a bit on people attempting to scam, because there are scammers, con artists. They will find any and every game to play. And on top of that, how much does the tracking actually cost? Somebody's got to scan that every place they go, which means you have a person being paid to scan. And then it's got to be uploaded to the computer through a computer program that's probably fairly costly to continue to maintain. And who pays for the devices that scan those things?
Excuse
and they
me?
need repairs on them after so long.
Tracking? I was looking up something the other day about tracking, and Amazon says 99% of the packages are tracking. You can track them. Guess what? They lie. Then they say, well, we can't do it because they don't know what.
And the problem is FedEx now has to do the tracking through most of the travel of it, and they won't scan.
No, they refuse.
They'll do the initial scan when they get it, and then you don't see it until it says it's at your post
There
office.
was a deal recently.
That thing in Hebron, Kentucky I was telling you about probably will show up in my box without ever saying it's arrived, and it'll finally be marked as delivered once I pick it up.
I wanted to say something. The other day I asked Aaron, and Aaron looked at me, and Aaron was proud of me because I have something on layaway. I won't go into details. You know what it is.
Yes.
Anyways, the other day the guy keeps telling me, no, price went up in shipping. I turned around and says, I'll pay the difference. I don't want him to eat the cost. He's been so good to me. Aaron says, I'm proud of you. Even though it's $5 more, big deal.
And the guy says, well, I don't want to accept your $5 because he set this up beforehand, which is really nice of him because a lot of businesses would say, I don't care, I want the extra $5. So we were being nice and saying, we'll give it to you anyways, and he says, well, I don't want it because you set this up before it went up. It's not your fault that it went up, so I'll eat the loss. And that's real nice of him, too. So in a way, it's two nice people butting heads over being nice. Who's going to be nicer to who? But anyways, I think we're pretty much done with this.
Exactly. So you have some information, like I was going to say.
We are very sorry
Google.
for 37 minutes of your time. But thank you for watching. Give us ideas, suggestions, thoughts, anything you wish.
Tell me if I look nerdy with my new glasses.
Yes. Don't insult her. Insulting's not nice. If you don't like them, just say, oh, I don't like them. You know, you don't have to say you're an ugly, weird-looking thing or whatever. You know,
I usually get
you don't have to be
so.
mean. You can say that you don't like them. That's easy enough. Or you can say that you do.
Sorry we didn't get last week's done. We were sick. So, with that said, please add and subscribe if you like. Please post comments in the box if you like.
And have a wonderful week.
Please ask suggestions and comments. And so you and me and everyone knows, please look for some videos coming up on Westerns that me and Aaron's watched for video reviews on those and book reviews. Stay tuned for next week's topic. Thank you, and may God bless the world.